and then share it. Share the screen. Okay. You see the new screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I want you to tell me, what do you see on the screen as far as the graphs are concerned? You see two graphs, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with the left graph. You know the function. The function is y equal to x squared. Look at the blue one, y equal to x squared. But the second one is y equal to x plus 1. Okay, so all we did is we added 1 to y. So y was just x squared, we added 1 to y. And we said if we add 1 to y, it's going to bump the function up by 1, right? So every point is bumped up by 1, correct?
Yes.
Okay, this in the terminology of the computer science, or in particular in the terminology of the calculus, this is called stretching, vertical stretching. Can anybody tell me why is it vertical stretching? Stretch, what does it mean? What does it mean to say stretch?
تمديد.
Yes. So when you say vertical stretching, whatever you're doing vertical stretching for, will it get higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher. And that's why they call it stretching. And if somebody you saw, let's say 5 years ago, 13 years old, and then you saw now 18, you say, oh, you really stretched. That means what? He gained height, right? So how do we know that a graph stretched? How do we know? By x, right? Yes, by x. We're going to have to point at 1x. Okay, so this is 1x right here. Do you see? Do you see my? Do you see the marker here? Oops. You see the marker here? This value for x.
Yes.
So let's say that this is x equal to 2. Then the new graph, the value of x will be equal to 4 up there, right? So it's stretching every point. This is, let's say, x equal 2 here. Assume that this is x equal to this point. If, yeah, stupid pen. If x is equal to 2 at this point, okay, keep screen. God. Assume that x is equal to 2 at this point, okay? And then we're going to stretch up, right? This is the value of the original graph, but when we added 1, f of 2 is no longer what we talked about, right? F of 2 is no longer that. F of 2 is going to be what? This, correct? So that's called vertical stretching. Now, can you tell me about the blue graph? Is it even or odd?
Even.
Why?
Because it's a friction on the wire.
Because it's symmetric about the y-axis. Very good. What about the new graph? The graph in red.
Also.
It's also symmetrical,
Even.
right?
It's also even.
Yeah.
And it's also even. Very good. Great, great. Now I want you to tell me what kind of graph is the blue one on B. Here, what kind of graph? Is it even or odd?
It's
Odd.
odd.
It's odd. Very good. It's odd. Okay, very good. Great, great. So this is an odd graph. It's symmetric about what?
Origin.
The
Excellent.
origin.
Excellent. See, this is the first equation, and this is the first equation. We bumped the first graph by 1 on this side, and we bumped this graph by 1 also on this side. But let me ask you, is the red line, the bumped one, is it odd?
Odd also.
It will not be odd. Why? What's the definition of odd? It must be symmetric around what?
Around the origin.
The origin. So if you bump it by 1, it's no longer passing through the origin. So it's not symmetric about the origin. So it's not odd. Clear?
كيف ما فهمت هذه؟
Is this graph even or odd? This graph even or odd?
odd هذا.
Huh?
هذا odd.
Odd. That means if this point is 1, let me see. Allah, this point, let's see. If you look at this point, okay, assume that this is 1. If you go up here, okay, 1 has what value? 1. F of 1 will be equal to what? 1, right?
1. Yes.
F of 1 will be equal to 1. So if f of 1 will be equal to 1, let's just do this. If f of 1 equal to 1, f of 2 equal to 2, f of 3 equal to 3, it's just like f of x equal to x, but y is equal to f of x, right?
Yes.
طيب. What is f of negative 1? What's f of negative 1?
1. لا.
Negative 1. F of negative 1 is also negative 1. F of 1 equal to 1, f of negative 1 is negative 1. This is the line. This is negative 1, right? X negative 1. What is the value of y? Negative 1. Because this line is called y equal to x. If x is equal to 1, y equal to 1. If x is equal to 2, y equal to 2. If x is equal to negative 1, y equal to negative 1. Correct? This is x and this is y. Okay? So if x equal to 1, this will be 1. If x is equal to 0, this will be 0. If x is equal to minus 1, it will be minus 1. Right? And that is what we say it is symmetric around the origin. But now, if we bump it by 1, is it going to be symmetric around the origin?
No.
No. Okay, let me write a general point. If I want to write a general point for this, we can say what? It has an x value and it has a y value, right? The point that's going to be somewhere in here, any point, okay? But if we cross the origin, then the same point will be reflected as negative x, comma, negative y. Correct? معي يا شباب? Okay, now I want to ask you this question. Let's stretch this one. Let's stretch this one. Okay, now I have what? 1 is, let's say, equal to 2 here. Correct?
Yes.
1 is equal to 2 here. Okay, let's take a look at 1 over here. For this, 1 is equal to what? Negative 1.
0. Negative 1 equal to 0.
So the first graph gave me 1 equal to 2. So 1 comma 2. But if I cross, okay, to negative 1 will give me 0. Are they reflecting? If they are reflecting, I should have gotten negative 1 comma 2, negative 2. If they are reflecting. Reflecting means you change the signs of both, but the values will be the same. And that's what makes it symmetric. Okay, see, you just change the signs, the value will be the same. F of 1 is equal to negative 1. F of 1 equal to 1. F of negative 1 equal to negative 1. Now, is this symmetric around the origin? It's not even
No.
passing through the origin. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. When we add a constant value, okay, like 1 to a function, and this particular function, the resulting is this function, is it still even, right? We just verified that it's still even. This is even, this is even, correct? And its graph is still symmetric. We just talked about it. Symmetric about the y-axis. When we add the constant term 1 to the function y equal to x, the resulting function, which is this, is no longer odd. And we talked about this in a previous class. We talked about it when I told you about the general equation of the straight line. We said the general equation of the straight line, we could just say f of x equals to mx plus b. That's the general, right?
Yes.
This is a general equation for a straight line. Okay, we said f of x equals to, let's say, mb. Okay, if f of x equal to mb, f of x equal to mb, okay, mx, sorry, why am I saying mb? F of x equal to mx. It's not, come on, it's not erasing. That's very strange. Okay, f of x equal to mx. Oh God, now it is. F of x equal to mx. We can also take f of x equal to b, right? Which one of these two functions is even? F of x equal b. F of x is even, very good, because if I have this, then at b, this is the x-axis. At b, I'm going to have a line. So this is f of x equal to b. So it is symmetric. Now, if I take the slope equal to 1, this will be equal to what? F of x equal to what? Equal to x. Huh?
Yes, it's going to be odd.
This one is odd, the
It's
MX.
going to be odd, right? But what
Yes.
if I added 1 to it? It's not going to be odd anymore.
It's going to be even.
It will be even.
Let's prove it. Let's prove it's not odd anymore. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and use the formula f of negative x. To be odd, it will be equal to what?
Negative X.
Excellent. Negative f of x. Okay? F of negative x should be equal to negative f of x. Okay? Let's do it for this line. Okay? So f of negative x will give me what? F of negative x will give me what? Will give me negative x plus 1, correct? I'm just going to replace. So x here is negative, so we just f of negative x is equal to negative x plus 1, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, let's take f of x. F of x is equal to what? X plus 1.
X plus 1.
Correct? Now let's take a look at negative f of x. Negative f of x equal to how much? Negative x minus 1. Correct? This one. This one. Put negative on this side. It'll be negative f of x. Put negative on this one. It'll be negative x, negative x minus 1, right?
Yes.
يا شباب الجبر أخذتوها. طيب.
Yes, yes, neither.
Condition. f of negative x should be equal to what? Negative f of x. So this is f of negative x, and this is negative f of x. Are they equal on the right-hand side?
No.
So that's it. So that's the proof that they're not. If we bump an odd function, it moves from the origin, so it will no longer be odd. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, here are the slopes. And this you have done it a million times, so I'm not going to waste too much time. These are slopes. I just showed you one of the slopes, which is m equal to 1. But these are pretty much all the slopes, okay? And this is just a function that's equal to a constant, y equal to 3 over 2. So there is nothing to, this is a symmetric function, right? Symmetric function. And every line, if we want to just do several lines, every line passing through this will give us what? Will give us an even function that is symmetric, right? But see, these lines, only one of them is going to be what? Odd. Which is what? Which is this when m equal to 1. This is an odd function. Any other line, it's not going to be odd function. And you can prove that for yourself, okay? Clear?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Two values x and y are proportional. Proportional يعني ايش؟ ها؟ Proportional يعني ايش؟
يتناسب
Yes, ما شاء الله. تبارك الله تبارك الله ما شاء الله عليك. Okay, so two values are proportional to one another if one is always a constant multiple of the other one, like y equal to k multiplied by x. Okay, let's take a look at what will happen if we multiply a variable by k. Okay, like y equal to kx. We're going to go ahead and see what will the impact of this be. What is the name of the original function? The original function, name of the original function is what? F of x. This is like saying f of x equal to x. Now we're going to have g of x equal to k times x. Okay, so g of x will no longer be same as x. Okay, it's going to have an impact. We talked about shrinking, and we talked about vertical what? We just talked about it. Vertical stretching. Okay, so we talked about stretching. We'll talk about compression or shrinking. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. Okay, let's take a look at these graphs. These graphs are in general, we could say y equal to x to the power b, where b in this case, we're going to use it like, let's say greater than 1. Okay, we can say b equals to 1, okay, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. Okay, so 1 is odd, right? And 3 is odd, right? And 5 is odd, correct? 2 and 4 are what? Even. معي يا شباب?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I want you to look at the graphs where b is odd. Are they odd graphs? B is odd. Is b odd here? Is b odd here? Y equal to x to the b. Here y is equal to x to the odd 1. So this is odd, right? Is
Yes.
b odd here? B odd here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can you tell me what kind of graph is this one? Is it even
Yes.
or odd? Is it even or odd?
Odd.
And this one?
It is original.
Huh?
Origin.
Odd.
Yeah, okay. And this one? Odd.
Origin also odd.
Yeah. Okay. How about if b is even? With b is even, what do we get? An even function, right? Even function. correct? Okay.
Right.
What happened to this graph? Okay.
symmetric about y.
Yeah, both of them symmetric around y, but you can see that this graph is wider than this, right? Wider than this, correct? This is wider than this. شايفين يا شباب؟ You can see, and if we did 6, it will be this will be curving to the inside more. We will see later on. But anyway, the message that we're trying to get is that if f of x equal to x to the power n, for n this, it defined for x greater or equal to negative infinity, less than infinity. So these are just anytime you have an equation, anytime you have equation, you know what the equation is, right?
Yes.
بالعربي ايش؟ معادلة صح؟ anytime you have an equation كويس؟ يعني مثلا a sub n x to the power n plus a sub n minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 plus, right? Until let's say a sub 0. Anytime you have something like this, then the domain is negative infinity to plus infinity. Anytime. And this is function of this kind, right? Any of these you can represent it, any of these functions, you can represent it by this, right? So if you look at f of 1, here I will have what? I will have a1 x to the power 1. Let me see. Let's say I will have a1 x to the power 1. Oh God, stupid. Okay, Ya Allah. Sorry. Okay, so we can have a1 x to the power 1, right? As one of the terms, right? So assume that every a is equal to 0 except a1 equal to 1. If a1 equal to 1, I get what? شباب, إذا قلنا f of x is a function given by this. So if we said every a sub n equal to 0 except a1 equal to 1, that means I'm going to get what? F of x equal to what? a1x. صح?
Yes.
And if a1 is equal to 1, it will give us f of x equal to x, right? If a,
Right.
okay. Now, how are we going to get, let's say, y equal to x cubed, f of x equal to x cubed? How are we going to get it?
يا دكتور بس معلش هذه ما فهمتها كويس.
طيب نحن قلنا ايش؟ قلنا عندنا f of x we can use الايكويشن، مش الايكويشن ممكن تكون an x to the power n plus an minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 اي equation plus a1x to the power 1 plus a0 x to the power 0 is just 1, so we don't have to put it. Okay, هذه أي معادلة, any of these here. Okay, how do I find a1? Is a1 representable by this? هنا y equal to x representable by this? Yes. صح? If I put a this equal to 0 and this a is equal to 0 and all the a is equal to 0 except a1, all the rest of the terms disappear. I will have what? F of x equal to a times x to the power 1. And I said a equal to 1. So f of x can be equal to a times x, which is equal to x. So f of x equal to x. Clear?
طب ليش ما أحط 0 عند الA بعد؟ A1.
إذن f of x equal to 0. بتكون كلها f of x equal to 0.
لا أنا قصدي اللي هو A1 هذه أخليها بالزيرو برضه تصير 0.
إذا حطيت a1 equal to 0 كل الفانكشن f of x بتصير equal to 0. أنا قايل لك بدي إياك تمثل الفانكشن y or f of x equal to x هذه، مثلها من هذه. كيف تستنتجها من هذه؟ هذه جنرال فورمولا كويس. اذا كان عندك الكوفيشنت هذا equal to 0 الكوفيشنت هذا equal to 0 all the coefficients equal to 0 okay including a1 then I will have a function equal to 0. I don't want a function equal to 0. I told you give me f of x equal to x. So to give me f of x equal to x, make sure that this is equal to 1 and make sure that every other a equal to 0 to kill all the x's. The only x that will survive is what? X to the power 1 because a1 is equal to 1 صح؟
Yes.
صحيح.
انا ما فهمت يا دكتور.
طيب
صحيح.
ممكن واحد منكم يا شباب الله يرضى عليكم يحاول من اي واحد فيكم يتبرع يشرحها مرة ثانية شباب.
الاكسات اللي تحت هذه وش هذه؟ ما فهمت.
طيب عندنا قلنا ايش؟ الجنرال فورمولا فور اف اوف اكس general formula for f of x equal to mx plus b صح؟ صح الجنرال فورمولا
هذا الاساس.
اي ممتاز. طيب
ممتاز.
انا اذا قلت لك بدي اياك تعطيني f of x equal to x
كيف يعني تبغى على شكل معادله يعني مثلا؟
هل f of x equal to x ممثله بهذه؟
ايوه.
الشرط ايش؟ b لازم تكون 0 وm لازم تكون 1.
موجوده بس انها
لا m تكون 1 m تكون 1. انا قايل لك انا بدي f of x equal to x so m لازم تكون equal to 1 وb لازم تكون equal to 0.
مضبوط.
طيب انا قايل لك انا عندي f of x equal كل هذول انا بدي اياك تعطيني f of x equal to x you have to kill every term and then equal to 1.
طيب هذه اللي على مين فهمتها؟ فهمتها 100% بس ان هذه كيف يعني؟
اي واحده؟
المساله الطويله هذه اللي
الطويلة. هذه طيب ما نحن قلنا انا بدي اياك تاخذ هذه as a general term مش اخذنا هذه as a general term لما قلت لك انا بدي f of x equal to x معناها بدي بس هذا الترم البقيه kill them so you said b must be equal to 0 صح؟ if b is not equal to 0 then f of x will be equal to x plus b. اذا حطينا b equal to 0 بنحصل ايش؟ f of x equal to x صح؟ which what I want.
نعم.
صح؟ طيب هنا قايل لك بس خلي هذا يعيش الباقي كلهم قتلهم. كيف تعمل؟ بتقول لي an المفروض يكون equal to 0 an minus 1 equal to 0 an minus 2 all the way a2 المفروض equal to 0 a0 equal to 0. هذا this will be the only survivor and the condition for giving me f of x equal to x معناها لازم a1 تكون 1 صح؟
ايوه مضبوط. نعم.
في حدا ما واضحه له؟ ليش انا حاطط هذا؟ لانه انا بدي اياكم قلت لكم في الامتحانات do everything by inspection okay don't waste your time. If somebody gave you a question like this f of x equal to x cubed 5x cubed plus 3x squared plus or minus 2x plus let's say 70 and they told you find the domain. Do you have to think? You don't have to think. Domain is always, I told you, domain for every equation is just what? Negative infinity, positive infinity. واضحة يا شباب؟
واضح.
Any question؟ ما تستحوا. طيب, good. Now what we have is we have the reciprocal. Now we have a quotient. But a quotient where we just have the reciprocal. Remember the function we're just talking about? F of x equal to x, right? F of x equal to x, its graph is something like this, right? Sorry. Something like this, f of x equal to x, right?
Yes.
F of x equal to x, its graph is something like this. Now, this is f of x. This one is f of x equal to 1 over x. صح؟ f of x equal to 1 over x. F of x equal to 1 over x. This one. Y is just f of x. This book uses y. Okay, so f of x equal to 1 over x. Now, we know that the curve for f of x equal to x is this. How do we determine that the curve of f of x equal to 1 over x is this one? How do we determine it? Anytime we have a numerator and a denominator, even if the numerator is what? Even if the numerator is 1. Anytime we have this, that means we have what? A 0 for the function, right? That means we don't want infinity. We don't want f of x to be equal to infinity because we will not go to infinity. And when will f of x equal to infinity? Is when x equal to 0, right?
Right.
That means f of x equal to infinity. But we don't want infinity. We don't want it. That means in the domain, we're going to say what? We're going to say any value except 0. صح? That means I will put a union here, and then I should put what? I should put what? 0,
Union
infinity.
minus infinity 0.
Excellent. اشرحها الله يرضى عليك. اشرحها ليش؟ Why this the right hand side we said it starts from 0 but it's not really touching 0. And
Because
it
it's
grows,
undefined.
yes, it grows until infinity. Okay, you can see x, right? X would be 0 at close to infinity, right? So the lowest value is 0, صح? And then you keep
Yes.
going, you keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, okay? It will go to plus infinity, right? What about this one? Somebody explain it, please. Negative infinity. So it starts from where? Negative infinity.
From minus infinity.
And since it is coming to the right, that means it continues to increase, continues to increase, continues to increase, approaching 0. Every time it approaches, but it will not really get to 0. It get to 0 to infinity. Clear, ya shabab?
Clear.
Good. Now, I want one of you to explain this to us. We know that the original function without the slope is something like this. This is like what? This is like the square, right? So this function in red is y equal to x squared, correct? So its reciprocal is this function. I want one of you to try to explain it to us. In the same manner I explained this one. One more time, I always told you, if we have a denominator, we don't want what? We don't want to go to infinity. Correct?
Correct.
The rule, ya shabab, if we have a denominator, we don't want to go to infinity. That means you are given this function, okay? This function you are given, the first thing you say, I don't want to go to infinity. صح? That means the domain will be what? The same domain we did for the first one.
It's going to be the same domain.
Right? Okay, so the smallest value here is what? The smallest value, you look at the x, the smallest value is what?
Minus infinity.
Yes, negative infinity, right? And the largest value is what?
Is infinity.
Excellent, infinity, okay? Now, if we say this, that means 0 is there. I want you to do it the same way we did it.
It is the same domain for the
Yeah, it's
other
the
one.
same domain. We cannot say negative infinity and then infinity. It's going through negative infinity.
Because it does not include the 0.
It does not include the 0, yes. So if we did it this way, that means the 0 is in between them. That's why we say, no, 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 no. We don't want the 0 between them. So we will do it like this. Negative infinity 0, and then union, and then 0
0
infinity. Is it clear يا شباب؟
Clear.
Anjad.
And
Good. Okay. Let's take a look at the square root. Okay? The square root. This is the square root of x. Okay, and I'm sure you're familiar with this graph. Okay, and this is the square, the cubic root of x. Cubic root of x. Okay, that's the cubic root of x, and this is the cubic of the square root of x. This is the cubic of this. If you do this to the power 3, you get this one. And this is the square of the cubic root. The square of the cubic root. It's all about just looking at their domains. Okay, see, this particular one has the domain from 0 to infinity, and the range also from 0 to infinity, where infinity is open in both sides. Okay, and you can just keep looking. You can see that this has what? A different domain, right? Why? Because this is y equal to square root of x. Why do you think we're not going to the left? Why do you think we're
دكتور
not?
الجذر
Because
ما يكون سالب في الجذر.
Yes, good. So all the ones, you can see all the ones that were not going to the left are these. And these, because they have the odd, so we're going to the left, right? We're going to the left on this one, we're going to the left on this one. واضح يا شباب؟ On this one, we're going to the left on this one. Okay? So
Okay.
let's let me just give a general rule for finding the domain. Okay, here we will explain it later also, but I'm going to give a general rule. Anytime we have this, okay, it doesn't matter how much the value is. Let me say b here, and let me say x. Okay, so it could be a square root. This b is equal to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. Anytime we have this, and we don't have to have this on only, we could have, for example, 5. Oh God. We could have, for example, 5x minus 7, okay? We could have something like this under the square root, okay? To find the domain, first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that what? Whatever is inside.
It is bigger than or equal 0.
Excellent. Greater or equal to 0. So this implies what? This implies that x is equal to 7/5, right? Right? X is greater than or equal to 7/5. صح?
Yes.
So tell me the domain now. If x is greater or equal to 7/5.
دكتور هذه ما فهمتها كيف هذه.
حل المعادلة هذه، أعطيني قيمة x. هذه 5x greater or equal to
7 على 5.
5x greater or equal to 7 صح؟
ايوه بعدين 5 تروح في الجهه
أقسم على
الثانيه.
5. نعم، أقسم على 5 هنا وأقسم على 5.
ليه ايش سوينا كذا؟
نحن بدنا x، بدنا الفاليو اوف x. فإذا قسمت على 5 هذول بيروحوا تعطينا x equal to 7/5. بدنا الفاليو تبع x.
ممتاز.
طيب معناه ايش؟ معناه الدومين حيكون ايش؟ الشرط قالوا لك x لازم تكون greater or equal to 7/5. معناه الدومين ايش؟ اصغر شيء ايش؟ ها؟
7/5.
7/5. So 7/5 يا الله مسح كل شيء سبحان الله. So 7/5 أصغر شيء 7/5 right? So it's included, so it's going to be like this. And then over here what?
That's infinity.
Excellent. Infinity. 7/5 infinity. Okay. General rule, one more time. If you have an equation equation, that means it's a n x to the power n plus a n minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 all the way. Anytime you have equation, domain is negative infinity to plus infinity. Don't waste your time. Anytime you have a square root, what do? We said always get whatever under the square root, get it equal to what? Yani if I have a square root or cubic root or any kind of root, okay, and I have any equation, so let me say equation. Okay, I have an equation here, square root of an equation. Okay, you want to find the domain, you put the equation greater than or equal to 0, and then solve the equation for x and find the value of x, and that will give you the smallest value of x. Is that clear, ya shabab?
Clear.
Good, very good. Okay, so what about the situation that we went through, which is f of x, we did it today, equal to x to the power b. What will the domain be? General rule, just a general rule. What will the domain be?
Minus infinity to plus infinity.
Yeah, I just told you. This is just equal like what? This is, what is the general equation for this? F of x equals to a n x to the power n plus a n minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 plus, right? All the way, let's say plus a b x to the power b plus, okay, whatever it is, a1 x to the power 1 plus a0, right? If I want to get this one, that means I have to say what? an of 0, this 0, all of them 0 except this, right? And then all of these, I'm going to put them 0, right? So this is a polynomial. This is a polynomial. Polynomial, but only one term is there. Okay? So if you have anything of this kind, don't waste time. It's like a polynomial, and then you just say, okay, it's been between negative infinity and infinity domain, and you keep going. Okay?
Okay.
Good. These are polynomials. Okay, look at this. This is a polynomial, right? This is a polynomial, right? And this is a polynomial. If you do the math, it's just a polynomial. And this is a polynomial. Okay? So you don't have to think. What is the domain? You just go ahead and write it down. Everybody? Clear?
دكتور الحين في الاختبار اذا اعطاني رسمات المطلوب اني اجيب الدومين والرينج فقط ولا؟
Yeah. You may be asked to get the domain and the range, but if you have the idea to get the domain, the range is the same way to get it. I'll
بس
give.
انا قصدي هل بيقول اني اكتب المعادله مثلا ولا بس اجيب؟
No. You don't have to write it. This is just 3 graphs of polynomials, different polynomials. They're showing you that these are polynomials by showing you the equation. Like if I didn't tell you that this is a polynomial and I didn't give you the equation, you will not know that this is a polynomial. صح?
Yes, correct.
You will not know. Like if I give you this graph, for example, this graph, and I did this, and I ask you what kind of graph in this area. What kind of graph is this one? This is part one period of a graph of the cosine, right?
Cosine, yeah.
One period of it. So this looks like a period of a cosine, right? But since it's going up there, it's no longer a cosine, right? It's no longer a cosine. Had it been cut over here and cut over here, then it looks like it's a cosine. So to distinguish between it and the cosine, of course, this will grow to infinity. Cosine will just keep repeating periodically. This will grow to infinity and this will grow to infinity. Why? Because it is a polynomial. Okay? I will give you I will give you steps to find the domain and steps to find the range. Specific steps to find the domain and to find the range. Okay, you want to take a break? Shabab?
Yeah.
You want to
Yes,
take a...
yes, okay.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Let's say 7 minutes. Oh no, it may not convert in 7 minutes. But anyway, let's get back in 10 minutes sharp, okay?
Okay.
Barakallah fikum. Please try to log on. If for any reason you could not, that means the conversion is taking more place, more time. Okay, Barakallah fikum. Okay, I'm gonna stop this sharing to convert, and I cannot convert without stopping the video. Okay?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.